welcome to Mud Rug on Frost. It's an early Sunday afternoon as I record this right now. I'm going to get to Sudan, Russia, China. We're going to get to Ukraine. We're going to cover some key things that have popped up this week. The Pentagon leak. We're going to talk about those things. I want to remind also you guys, head over to the Discord channel. Sign up for the War Room. Now, over on Discord, the links will be down in the description. I'd love to see you guys there. I want to see that channel grow more. Those guys over there on Discord, they share a lot of information, a whole lot more than I'm giving here. And you are going to be well up to date with some raw info over on the Discord about the war in Ukraine and other subjects of interest. So I hope to see you guys there. Now, we're going to start with Sudan. So let me put myself in the corner. All right, so we're going to start with Sudan. Let's read what it says here. An attempt of a military coup is going on in Sudan. Well, what does this have to do with my main subject of Russia? Let's get to it. Back in February, a couple months back or so, in February 2023, Sudan gave Russia its consent to build a naval base in the Red Sea. U.S. Ambassador Khartoum John Godfrey, however, threatened the Sudanese authorities with consequences for granting Moscow the right to establish a military base in the Red Sea. The United States was not happy about Sudan getting up close, buddying up with Russia, and we straight up threatened them. Fast forward to, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. Now we have a military coup popping off in Sudan. Let's take a look at this video. So we got a coup, civil war thing going on. Now, I'm going to jump over to something I found over on TikTok. Let's take a look at that now.
Iraq actually is a perfect example of the way the whole system works. So we economic hitmen are the first line of defense. We go in, we try to corrupt governments and get them to accept these huge loans, which we then use as leverage to basically own them. If we fail, as I failed in Panama with Omar Torrijos and in Ecuador with Jaime Roldos, men who refuse to be corrupted, then the second line of defense is we send in the jackals. And the jackals either overthrow governments or they assassinate. And once that happens and a new government comes in, boy, it's going to toe the line because the new president knows what will happen if he doesn't. In the case of Iraq, both of those things failed. Economic hitmen were not able to get through to Saddam Hussein. We tried very hard. We tried to get him to accept a deal very similar to what the House of Saud had accepted in Saudi Arabia, but he wouldn't accept it. And so the jackals went in to take him out. They couldn't do it. His security was very good. After all, he had one time worked for the CIA. He'd been hired to assassinate a former president of Iraq and failed, but he knew the system. So in 91, we sent in the troops.
I'm going to cut that short. It goes on more and explains basically the same thing, that there is a procedure with the United States. You will do what you're told, and if you don't, then we will basically take you down. And we have different ways of making countries do what they're told. One of the ways is financial, to go in economically and to dominate that country and put them under our financial thumb. If that doesn't work, we go rough shot. We will assassinate you. We will instigate coups and revolutions like some people are saying that we are allegedly doing in Sudan right now. And third, we will go to war with you. We will destroy you. We will bomb democracy up your ass. So this is pretty much what's happening in Sudan. And nations around the world, you still got to fear the United States. Sudan, you were told, you were threatened by the ambassador, don't do this. And now there is an attempt to overthrow your government. And people are saying this is the CIA, this is the United States government. I hope you can survive this attempt to overthrow your government, but this is a warning to nations around the world. You need to back away from the satanic powers of the West. They do not have your best interest in mind. And if your government is cozying up to the U.S. too much, not saying that you can't a little, too much, then in my opinion, they have been bought off. They got little secret Swiss bank accounts. They have sold your nation out to the demon that is the Western leadership. Now, this TikTok is pretty good at giving me some of the basic information I need, just like Telegram is. So let's listen to Tucker Carlson on the Pentagon leaks here.
Intelligence about the war in Ukraine began to appear on social media. Briefing slides prepared by the U.S. government began to show up, among other places, on Twitter. And the slides show that this is, in fact, not Ukraine's war. It's our war. The United States is a direct combatant in a war against Russia. As we speak, American soldiers are fighting Russian soldiers. So this is...
I'll stop it there because it goes on for a while. I'm gonna catch you up. A lot of you guys already know this. So, and I think there's more to the story than what we're getting. Some 21-year-old National Guardsman, I believe from Illinois, somehow got access to top secret Pentagon information. Something's not right with that story. I don't know how that's possible. So I think some of this information the Pentagon intended to leak. And I've been watching other commentators, and they have a thinking on why that may be. But they're not denying that the information is accurate. So what is the information? I remember telling you guys back during the Mariupol days, Mariupol, the conflict there, that Western special forces were in Ukraine. Alleged, I said at the time, because I couldn't prove it, but I was looking at different information, and I came to the conclusion, there's Western special forces in Ukraine. Well, of course, I had all the pro-Ukrainian people, you're full of, they didn't want to believe me. So now it's out. Now it is out that several NATO nations have our special forces fighting in Ukraine, fighting against Russian forces. I'll still throw alleged there for the YouTube, but I mean, it's pretty much out there. Second, this thing about Russian human waves, turns out that's not true. I told you that. Magadunk, if you're still around, I told you that. I told you that was a lie, that was fake, and I showed you information on why I thought so. Now, there are part of the Pentagon leak. It admits that that's not true. I'm constantly being proven right. And why? Why am I, and many of my viewers and commenters, why are we right and the pro-Ukrainian people wrong? Because you have been propagandized. You have allowed yourself to believe lies. You just don't want to see the truth when the truth is just there, easily to understand. So let's get this out there one last time. The mainstream media lies. The governments lie. The Pentagon lies. They all lie. And the biggest liars of them all are any information that comes out of the Ukrainian military, Zelensky, or the Ukrainian media. Those are lies. I was right from the get-go. Russia is kicking the ass. Russia is winning. Ukraine is getting its butt whooped. The Western nations have special forces in Ukraine. I was right from the beginning, and I could only wish that all of you haters out there would go into the comment and apologize, because you were the idiot, not me. All right? You shouldn't have to wait for these bozos to have their information leaked. Because if you use your effing brain, you can figure it out yourself, like I do and like others do. Okay, let's listen to a little bit more what Tucker has to say, and then we'll move on.
This is not a regional conflict in Eastern Europe. This is a hot war between the two primary nuclear superpowers on Earth. And yet this war has never been formally declared. It has not been authorized by Congress. And for that reason, this war is a violation of American law. It is a crime. The second thing we learned from these slides is that despite direct U.S. involvement, Ukraine is in fact losing the war. 7 Ukrainians are being killed for every Russian. Ukrainian air defenses have been utterly degraded.
7 Ukrainians for every Russian. They are getting annihilated. Do you understand? And this is why YouTube censors my channel. This is why YouTube, because of them, I had to take down 400 videos. Why? Because I told the truth. This is why this channel, when I first started it, I was gaining up to 100 new subscribers a week. A week! Until YouTube shut me down. It is really discouraging, to be honest. I was on fire. I had the energy. I was doing videos almost every other day. Sometimes I was doing 3 videos a day because I had hope that the things I was telling you, the truth that I was telling you, could make a difference, that it could educate people. right? YouTube got a hold of me, and when they first put the shadow ban on me, I went from 80 to 100 new subscribers a week to 1 new subscriber in 2 weeks. And what was my crime? Telling you what is now being told due to the leak information from the Pentagon. Information the Pentagon isn't denying.
Ukraine is losing. The Biden administration is perfectly aware of this. They're panicked about it, but they have lied about this fact to the public. Just 2 weeks ago, for example, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin told the U.S. Senate that Russian military power is, quote, waning. In other words, Russia is losing the war. That was a lie. He knew it was when he said it, but he repeated it in congressional testimony. That is a crime. But Lloyd Austin has not been arrested for committing that crime. Instead, the only man who has been taken into custody, or likely ever will be, is a 21-year-old Massachusetts Air National Guardsman who leaked the slides that showed that Lloyd Austin was lying. Late last week, leaked intelligence about the war.
Oh, that's the whole clip. I think that youngster was set up. He's a patsy. I don't know how he would have got that information. I'm thinking, and the same thing, I think it was the Duran was saying this. I'm not sure where I heard it. I heard it from several guys. I think they're correct. But the story doesn't quite fit with the facts. But this is what they're saying, that the Pentagon needs to get out of the war in Ukraine. And so they needed to leak the truth. So the public will understand that this war is over with. We need to back away. We're not winning. Russia's winning. Because the Pentagon wants to focus on China. We want to start gearing up to fight a war with China. And we can't fight 2 wars at the same time. So as I told you in other videos, that has always been a lie for generations, that the U.S. can fight 2 wars at once. We can't. So because the media has done such a good job at brainwashing the American public and the Western public, again, I'll bring out my #1 pro-Ukrainian, Magadunk. The media has done such a good job at brainwashing people like Magadunk that it's going to be difficult to pull out of Ukraine without telling the truth, because people are not going to want to pull out of Ukraine if they think Russia's losing. So the Pentagon had to bite the bullet. They had to leak the information. They had to get it out to the media so that the public, the entire planet could know finally that I was right. Yeah, that's the way I put it. So the Pentagon leaked the information so the whole world can know that I, Mud Frost, was right the whole time, and that Russia is winning, that the sanctions aren't working. Well, they didn't leak that, but I'm saying, believe me, I'm right about everything. The sanctions aren't working, and the Ukraine is losing. They're losing so bad that we may as well just begin to try to solve the problem peacefully or to pull away from the war. So that's kind of what the other sources were saying. I kind of see how that thinking works. There's a couple of holes in that theory. I'll touch on that later on another video. Let's take a look at this video really quick. So Japan decides they're going to buy Russian oil, and then this happens.
An explosion is heard at a venue where Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was due to make a speech on Saturday. Police detained a suspect who threw what appeared to be a smoke bomb. Witnesses say they saw an...
Now, I don't know if it was a smoke bomb or just a bomb that fizzled, that didn't do what it was supposed to do. But I mean, whether or not it was a smoke bomb or not, the bomb had a casing. That casing can shrapnel. That shrapnel can kill. So they're saying it was a smoke bomb. I personally think it was just a failed bomb.
An object sailing over their heads, heard a loud explosion, and then clouds of smoke. The Prime Minister himself took cover and was evacuated unhurt, according to public broadcaster NHK. Local news outlets say a 24-year-old male from Kawanishi...
So let's see. I think I have a video of the actual Prime Minister being pushed out of the way. Let's take a look at that. All right, so this is the Prime Minister here next to the guy in blue. Watch the reaction of his... actually, one of his security men, yeah, he was on it. The others, it got by them. Had it not been for him, the explosion would have got the Prime Minister. Let's take a look.
A young man throws a grenade at Japanese Prime Minister. There's a row of 3 or 4 bodyguards, and
the one bodyguard with the briefcase shield, he sees it and he moves to it. The other two standing behind it, they just go like this. They're like, what's that? Right? I think they need retraining. Their reflexes need to be better than just like, oh, a bomb. Right? Watch what I'm talking about. You'll see it. They're two guys. They just look straight down when the bomb falls.
A young man throws a grenade at Japanese Prime Minister.
You see that? Actually, it's more than the one responds and the other's like, oh. Oh. I find the Japanese Secret Service or whatever they're called that protect their prime minister, they're not very good. Okay, they're not very good. They lost Abe. I mean, the former prime minister was executed not some months back, and now. So they got to up their game. All right, Japan. If I got Japanese viewers, your protective services for your prime minister, they need to up their game. Right? If I'm a foreign leader, I would not visit Japan and completely trust their protective services. There's something not quite right there. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave you with this video for those of you that want to meet a Ukrainian honey. Supposedly there are a lot of Ukrainian honeys out there who are looking for a good man. So this Ukrainian honey is making it known that she is looking for a good Western man to provide for her. So let's take a look at this. I think that this Ukrainian honey is not the kind of honey that most of you are looking for.